I'm not a professional speaker like everyone else here probably at the event. I'm just a guy. Before I start, I want to make sure you got your notepad, your books and pens. All right, when I say stoked, I mean like super happy, stoked. All right, so if you hear that and you're like, what's he saying? It's because I have to translate that. And then rad is another one. Rad is like very good. So let's use it in a sentence real quick. I'm very stoked to be here in Costa Rica. I'm very stoked to be here in Costa Rica. All right, and that's rad, right? To be here. Me up here at the microphone is about as far from... It's true, I do surf a lot. That's what I do. I don't come to these events. But I'm glad I'm here. Thank you for having me. I'm going to tell you a little story. My name is Joe Walsh. I'm 33. I'm a surfer. I own Witches Rock Surf Camp, which has started here in Tamarindo, just a few miles away. You guys are going to check it out here, I'm sure, during your stay. It's right on the beach. It's right on the Tamarindo River mouth. It's one of the best right-hander barrels, and the wave barrels over. You get inside of it, and I live upstairs above my business. Let's see here. I can just show you. I don't even know how this thing works. Okay. Well, the business has gotten big now. That's me. I'm more stoked about the fact that I'm on the Chargers homepage than I am about pretty much anything else. So that's why I included it. And if you're not a Charger fan, I'm sorry. But I grew up in San Diego. I grew up surfing. The surf camp, as a result of my love for it, has grown into a 65-person operation. It's always pretty much full, except for the really lowest rainy season. I don't know. Men's Journal, as Vision said I had one of the best, second best behind Tom Brady, which is okay with me. He gets tackled all the time. I mean, it's true. Real World Austin came down a few years ago. They had their end of year thing, and that was pretty interesting to be on. The Real World had the family reunions. It's always fun. It's big, but it started really small. It's like it's a story about how it came to be. And basically, I'm from San Diego. I started surfing when I was in high school. I was the guy that was in class, not really paying attention, doing the little doodles of the tiki hut on the beach, and then that perfect little right-hander barrel out in front. And I was always there in that little barrel, like I already showed you. And yeah, pretty much I stayed there. I surfed at Black's, which is in San Diego. It's one of the best waves. I stayed for college, went to UCSD, just so I could surf Black's. Is the reason why I went there. I had a VW van and went to Baja a bunch. I came down here for a month and a half when I was in college. I thought this place was rad. You got that? All right, we're doing good. Yeah, I pretty much just wanted to surf all the time. And after I graduated college, I came down here again for another month by myself, tooled around, kind of honed in on this area. And then I went back. I graduated, I was 22, I had to get a real job. I had to grow up and do that whole thing. And I had 2 degrees from school, but they're both art degrees, a music degree and an art degree. And it was hard to get a job. And I didn't really try, because I didn't realize at the time, but I didn't really want a job. So here I am driving a Volkswagen van to my job interview, and it broke down to EA Sports to work on a video game thing. And I didn't get the job because I showed up an hour late. And then I was like, shit, man, I need to get a new car so I can get to work every day, so I can keep my job. Just sound like total shit. Just, I want to go back to Costa Rica and surf every day, you know? And literally, I was at a Volkswagen dealership in Pacific Beach in San Diego test driving a new Passat so I could get to work every day on time. And it kind of hit me right there when I was test driving that car. And I had 20 grand in the bank, and I took that 20 grand, and instead of buying that car, I made a conscious decision right then and there that I was going to move to Costa Rica, and I was going to start a surf camp, and I was going to surf every day, because that's what I wanted to do. And that's what we did. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the short of it. I made a bunch of notes, and there's a lot of things I have to go in on, but I'm trying to give you the background so you guys understand. I had 20 grand, and that isn't a lot, especially when you went to move to another country, open a surf camp. Everybody thought it was very crazy because my plan was to buy a school bus because I was a bus driver in college for 3 years, so that's one thing I knew was driving buses. And I figured if things didn't work out, I could always live in the bus. It's like a big camper, and it's true. And I was able to talk a good friend I grew up with, Dave Ambler. I was able to talk him into investing 20 grand with me. My father, who at first thought the idea was just totally crazy, he over the next couple of months kind of changed his tune. He realized that I was going to do this, and he realized the opportunity to go on this drive through Central America, and he wanted to be a part of it. And my girlfriend came along. We'd only been dating for 2 or 3 months. She's now my wife, sitting right over there. Had more faith than absolutely anyone. They all jumped on the bus, They all came with. We came here together. It started by renting this old house on the beach that was run down and overrun with weeds, and it was awful looking. It was $1,000 a month to rent it. Rented this house. We turned it into a little beach bar. I taught surf lessons. I drove boats. I drove cars. I took people surfing. My wife cooked and cleaned, and I was on the internet trying to answer emails and phone calls and learn how to do all of this with an art degree. And then here we are, Now 10 years later, we're the official surf camp of the San Diego Chargers. Again, it's more important than just about anything else for me. That's okay. But no, I got invited to write a book. I have passion. I'm not going to tell you that yet, though. Just pretend you don't see that for sure. But I got invited to write a book, which I'm trying to figure out right now. I got invited to speak here, which I'm very appreciative of. But up until very recently, I did not even really think about how things came to be. So it gave me an opportunity coming here to speak with you all to really dive in deep and figure out what it was. So, passion. I have it for surfing. I love to surf. I love to travel. I love to explore. I love to use my GPS, handheld, Google Maps. I love to find islands in the Caribbean side of Panama that no one goes to. I just came back from Peru a couple weeks ago in the middle of fucking nowhere. You guys, middle of nowhere. To get good waves, to go explore and go see places that most of you will never get a chance to see. You should, though. For me, it's surfing. I have a passion for it. We probably all have a passion for something. Maybe you don't. But for me, it's surfing. And thank you for putting this picture in, Yana. You can't really tell, but I'm pulling into a barrel there. That's right in front of where I live in the Tamarindo River mouth. Gets like that quite often. Just to be able to catch a wave, stand up quick enough, drop in, pull in, and see the view that I'm seeing right there is kind of in a nutshell what the passion for surfing is I have, how it makes me feel. It's like the water's doing one thing and it sounds like nothing you've ever heard before, and you're seeing this light at the end of the tunnel and just trying to make it out. You make it out of very few. But just the view in itself is this such amazing thing that I've completely... I've just been looking for that rush ever since I started surfing my whole life, 17 years now. I'm not going to stop. It's what I do. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to feel that. So I think that having a passion for surfing is what's really helped make my business successful. It's a little crazy to deal with me, I'm sure. Ask my wife. She's laughing. This is the woman who was 7 months pregnant, and she was my girlfriend at the time, and I was leaving the next day to go to Peru on one of these trips, and realizing that, surfing ranks so high in my world that I don't know, I was not realizing the love of my life sitting here 7 months pregnant could be without me if my plane went down or if the waves were anything happened. So I asked her to get married that morning, the day before I left, and we got married that night, and didn't realize it was a total franchise sushi restaurant in San Jose, Costa Rica. It's like getting married at Pickup Sticks. And we're getting ready to have our 5-year anniversary, and I know this because my oldest is about to turn 5 years old. I'm just telling you how it is. More recently, maybe 3 months ago, September 3rd of this year was my birthday. On the 2nd, I was getting ready to fly back to Tamarindo for my birthday party, and Hurricane Earl showed up on my iPhone app, and the east coast of the U.S. was going to be double overhead plus, and that's big. That's twice as big or bigger waves, and so instead I buy my plane ticket to Rhode Island, and I'm surfing Point Judith, Rhode Island on September 3rd on my birthday. And yeah, it's a great birthday. I missed my birthday party. Exactly. I had life my way. I was passionate about it, and I went and was surfing. So that's it, man. That's it. That's passion. If I didn't have passion for it, I wouldn't do it as well as I did. I think that that's really helped me out a lot. I think that the authenticity that your passion brings to whatever you do will help bring that level of success to your endeavor. For me, with the surf camp, being passionate about surfing allowed me to create something extra special and unique and ultimately really successful that I don't think not being passionate about it wouldn't, you know what I'm trying to say. I was passionate. It goes when I want it to go. There we go. So that's my tiki hut. That's my little right-hander out in front. That is turned into where I live now above my restaurant bar, which is very busy. It's the busiest restaurant bar in the town, and I've got a soundproof room for my 2- and 4-year-old boys so they can sleep when live bands play downstairs. I had this vision of this little tiki hut and this beach ever since I was in high school. My mom called me a visionary my whole life, and I never really knew what being a visionary meant. I just looked it up about a week ago, and in case you got preparing for this speech, and in case you guys don't know or you hear the word thrown around, I looked it up. It's pretty interesting. Someone who has an original idea about what the future could or will hold. And then when I read that and thought about it, I realized that that's really what I'd been doing this whole time, was considering what was going to happen in the future, looking at what emerging trends there might be, placing myself in the position of the customer, just trying to really, with the surf camp, I had this vision of being here on the beach, warm water, waves year round. I had this vision of where I wanted to take things, and I guess I just kind of kept working until I got to that point. I'd been to Costa Rica. I knew it was great here. It was rad. The water is warm. The waves are consistent. There's a lot of non-surfing things, like it's very safe. People are very nice. The food's good. They invest in education. They're very pro-environment. There's a lot of really good reasons. I had been having all my friends come here in the late 90s, and I think surfers kind of blaze a trail for others to follow. And so I knew Costa Rica was on the map. Although I opened up in Playa Coco first, which is an hour north of Tamarindo, because I'd been watching Endless Summer 2, which I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's probably one of the most famous surf movies to be distributed, and it's about these guys that go on this around-the-world trip, and they come here, they stay in Tamarindo, they surf Witches Rock, they surf here in Avianos and Playa Negra. I knew that this place was hot. It was going to be happening. There was a lack of infrastructure at the time, but I kind of felt it was happening, so I had a little bit of a vision there. But I was in Coco, and I came down here, bought a boat with the money that we had. I used to get seasick. I'd never driven a boat before. I had to learn how to do it by just doing it. I didn't even know where Witches Rock was, and the first time I took people there, I was watching Endless Summer 2 at 5 in the morning, trying to find landmarks so that I could take my guests there, and I made it, but it was definitely one of those just do it and figure it out as you go. But I noticed that even more important, what I realized was that I was taking these, when I first moved down here, I was kind of had the wrong idea in my head that I'm an advanced surfer, I'm going to take advanced surfers to advanced surfing waves like Witches Rock, that's what I'm going to do. But then as the year progressed, in 2001, our first year, I realized I was limited. I could only take one boat full of people every day. If I took two, that's like 12 people, it's a big crowd, and that kind of goes against the principles of a surfer. You don't want to take a crowd. And at the same time, while I'm in Coco, down here in Tamarindo, where the waves are perfect for learning. It's a much more beautiful beach, but the biggest thing is there's waves there, not like Coco where you just keep a boat. But in Tamarindo, it's this awesome learning wave. I'm getting asked to teach surfing maybe more frequently than people are asking for me to take them to witches, and I'm kind of realizing that there's a limit to what I can do taking people surfing on a boat, but that there's people that want to learn. There's actually more people that are beginning or intermediate than there are advanced in any field. And for surfing, it's obviously the same. So I guess recognizing that trend, realizing I could have a bigger business, or at least I could grow my business in a way in which I wanted, and I could focus on the learning surfer more than the advanced surfer, having that vision. So that's when we decided to come to Tamarindo and focus more on the surf school. Besides that, Tamarindo is like, this little like end of the road circle, and the waves are over here, and we opened up where the waves were, and everyone said, hey, you're outside of town. And I'm like, I don't care. The waves are right here. This is where we're going to be. And it's this shitty old house with it's all weeded out. You can't even see the ocean through it. It's just, it's a real mess. It was overlooked, but in my mind, it was a gold mine. It was something I could actually afford. And so with this old house, it turned into, you'll see it. You guys are going to come to Tamarindo. You'll see it for yourself. But I've been able to manifest my sort of vision of this beach house with my own little wave out in front. I mean, I have to share my wave. It's not my wave. But I do live there, and I'm closest to it, and I get to surf every day. And I guess having that vision is the point I'm trying to get across. You have a passion for something, and then you have this vision. And I think a lot of people have that, but even that doesn't really do it. You have to be able to go out and actually do it. And that's the third thing. I'd call it get on the bus. I bought a school bus. I was able to convince a childhood friend, my father, my girlfriend, friends of friends, 10 people in total, to drive through Central America on this surf adventure because I wanted to go to Costa Rica and open a surf camp. How many people besides me have driven to Costa Rica? Has anybody driven through Central America? Raise your hand. Got 1, 1.5, maybe 2, 3, 2, my wife, 4, 5. All right. 2%. That's good. I'm actually happy. I hope there would be more. I thought it was an amazing adventure. Fact is, though, I don't think those 9 other people would have gone had I not committed. And that's kind of the theme, You have a passion for something, and you have vision and see where you want to be. But unless you get off your ass and go and do it, you're not going to get anything done. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to happen with just 20 grand in the bank. We had to rent before we owned, didn't have money to buy the land that we now have, could not build anything, had to ask for a lot of help from a lot of people, friends, family, neighbors, the owner of the hardware store, owner of other competing businesses, books, not e-books, old school books, like the kind with pages and you can highlight them, and, books, library books. The internet. Down here, I think being limited by our resources, I was on the internet more than most. Can honestly say when it came time to build our hotel, I'm not ashamed to admit this, I asked Jeeves how to build a hotel in Costa Rica. I think that was my search term, how to build hotel in Costa Rica. It's a funny joke, but it's absolutely true. I think not really, not worrying about making mistakes, because you're going to make them. I did. I made a shit ton. Still making them all the time. But I'm making more good decisions than bad ones. I'm learning through all of this. I think you just have to go out and do, You get your idea. You know what you want to do. You got to get on the bus. You have to also lead by example. If you're going out and doing things, you're asking other people for help, you're being yourself, you're being authentic, this is it. This is me. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. Can you help me get there? This is going to happen one way or another. You inspire the people around you to get involved and to get on the bus with you. I think that's the biggest message. All these people out there that have these ideas, they're passionate about something, or they have this idea of something that could work, or both, but they're just sitting there and waiting for it to happen. It's never going to happen. And however crazy it may seem to say, I'm going to buy a school bus and I'm going to drive to Costa Rica and I'm going to find a way to open a surf camp and I'm going to do that forever just because I just want to surf. And a lot of people thought it was really crazy. It seemed like a really good idea to me. And, and it was, and it is. So I guess if you're just willing to dream and really do what you want to do, you're going to be passionate about it because it's what you want to do. You're going to do it better than doing something you don't want to do. For me, it's surfing. It's exploring new spots, traveling the world, surfing, providing a surfing service for the rest of the world. Teaching surfing, I find that to be really amazing, really rewarding. I've created these lifelong kind of relationships with people that have started learning, that have gotten better with us over the years. People come back because we're always doing things. It's always growing every year incrementally. It didn't go from like shack to like 18-room resort overnight. It happened in 10 years. I think people appreciate the fact they see us down there in the trenches doing it alongside everyone else. I don't know. For me, that's my little piece of paradise. It's what allowed me to get what I feel to be an awesome life. And, I'm not telling you guys to do anything. I'm just telling you what worked for me. And I hope that, if nothing else, you guys heard a good story. You know what stoked and rad means. You're going to come see our surf camp at the end of this event. We're going to be hosting a little shindig for you. That's it, man. That's my story. That's one way to do it. Hope you like it.